how to maintain a work-life balance, which real estate specifically, it's really difficult.
Yes, it can be. We pour so much of ourselves into everyone else, into our career, into our family, and we forget to take care of ourselves. Make sure that you take time out of the day for you.
If you look at the most successful people, you start to see a pattern. We're talking about life-changing stuff, habits.
Yeah.
If you want to start changing your life, you got to make big moves happen.
You have to become the person that you want. It's not an option. It's not whether you're motivated or not. It's, this is what I know I have to do. And you just get out.
Just remember to give yourself the patience, the grace, the love. Stay motivated. At the end of the day, you are who you are. Welcome to the House of Vesta, the #1 independent real estate team in Illinois. We are a group of characters and would love to welcome you into our home with open arms. If you love a good time and a good real estate story, come through and be part of the conversation. This is your host, Grigory Piekarski. Welcome to episode 3/4-ish. We might have to reshoot one of them. So I am with Rayanne, whose stage name is?
Redneck Rayanne.
Not a fan.
That's fine.
But it's your name. It's whatever makes you happiest.
I am.
It's who you are. I'm not gonna say that. I'm not even gonna go for that. But we are talking about stability, focus, and how to maintain a work-life balance, which you are fantastic at. It is extremely difficult to maintain a work-life balance in anything really right now, especially with all the noise coming at us.
Yep.
But in real estate specifically, it's really difficult.
Yes, it can be.
Because it's a forever ongoing push. And if you're not pushing, you feel like you're not doing anything.
Yes.
So I've had a lot of experience with it, but you are mastering it. So why don't you kind of go in your typical, what are the things that you do to maintain a positive, consistent influence / attitude?
Yeah, it definitely comes down to routine and keeping that routine. I know everyone always preaches that, but it's really what helped me become so steady head.
Okay.
Another big thing I think is to make sure that you take time out of the day for you. The biggest thing I learned is that we pour so much of ourselves into everyone else, into our career, into our family, into kids if you have kids, and we forget to take care of ourselves. Mm-hmm. And I think that's where almost the defeat comes in, or where you get that burnout feeling, is because you're not taking care of yourself. And so I've learned that waking up before everyone else.
What time do you wake up?
4:45 is my alarm.
4:45. So everyone, for the most part, 90% of people that are going to listen to this are going to be, get the fuck out of here.
And that can be different. So that you have to do that based on your lifestyle, based on what you do.
Sure.
So everyone can be different. Sometimes getting up at 6 a.m. is going to be early for someone who typically gets up at 8 a.m. But those 2 hours can be crucial to your mental health and making sure you're on track for the rest of the day. So
and I talk about this a lot, when I was starting to kind of build, because success, we always talk about, 70% of success is attitude.
Yes, absolutely.
And what we're talking about is specifically building your attitude. And when I was starting my journey to build my attitude years ago, when my mentor started to call me every single day in the morning at 5 a.m., you remember what I said? It took me 3 years to get to a point where I was okay, cool. I'm starting to do this. I'm waking up. And my life started to change in the positive, and I really started to see the power of waking up in the morning. How long have you been waking up at 4:45 in the morning for?
Probably close to 5 years now.
Is it natural? Do you have an alarm clock?
I do have an alarm clock. I'll say probably half of the week. It depends on when I go to bed. I'll wake up before it. But sometimes with my later nights, if I'm going to bed, and I know this sounds crazy.
Tonight?
Tonight I'm going to be out late, but if I go to bed past 9:30, usually I need my alarm.
Did you go out this past weekend?
No.
Okay. Do you go out on a week? Do you go out sometimes? Like 11? Well, I guess it's not fair, right? Because the weekends is kind of a different story. But do you go out after 10 o'clock, 11, come home and go to sleep after 10 or 11 o'clock ever?
Not typically. I've learned that even on the weekends, which people, like you said, kind of make that an exception to their lifestyle, I think that's where everyone kind of messes up the rest of their week. And that's why they feel off even on Monday and Tuesday when they do wake up on time or they wake up earlier. It's because they're not fully rested from the weekend. So this this is kind of when I like stopped going out with my friends that I really saw a significant difference in my mentality and like how I feel. And it's like, I still go out, I enjoy my life, but I make sure that like, if I'm gonna go out, if I'm gonna go drink, you know, I go out earlier. I go out at 5, I go get dinner, I have drinks, I hang out, but then I still like go to sleep early. So I think it's all depends on like how you schedule your life. And I schedule it to be very in routine.
So I think you hit something on the head, which I think where a lot of people, even though they say they want to change their life, they say they want to start doing these things, they want to start waking up, right? They're not ready to give that up, right? And that was where my 3-year journey came into place, is that I'm naturally like ingrained in me as I'm a selfish person. I just am. And from that, even having kids, it's confronting that selfishness in a place where you're like, listen, at the end of the day, you are who you are, right? But if you really truly want to make a change, something has to be given up to be gained, right?
Yes.
And if you want to start changing your life, you got to make big moves happen. And what I saw was through my journey of starting to wake up at 5 a.m., I started to have to let go of inhibitions, right? The things that were like inhibiting me from gaining the success that I want. So like, it's almost like this big goal. So if somebody's like listening right now being like, Jesus, like fuck off. Like I'm never going to wake up at 5 a.m. I was exactly like you. Seriously.
Yeah,
I was exactly like you.
Everyone that I talk to tells me I'm nuts.
Right. But if you look at the most successful people, if you hear about, daily routines and all of that, you start to see a pattern. They have chosen success, and maybe success is a weird word, right? Because like some people just be like, I don't give a shit about money, right? But like it could be something where it's like a better life, a healthier life, a freeing life, a better mental attitude. It really all starts with a routine. It really does.
Well, and I think a big thing with people, and they don't even realize it until they start prioritizing time for themselves and getting done what they need to get done, is that they, even at the end of the day, when they're going out with friends or they're making these plans, they have this like anxiety in the back of their head about all the things that they should have done for the day but didn't. And that was something that ate me alive for a very, very, very long time.
Okay.
Like, I would sleep in, at 9 o'clock, I know that's probably not sleeping into some people, but I would sleep until 9, 10 o'clock. I would start my days like nonchalantly. And then by the time that I started my work days, I would get like 4 or 5 hours done. And then it was time to go do something with my friends. It was time to go out. It was time to do this. And I felt like I didn't accomplish what I needed to. And so I think it's important to realize that when I say I wake up at 4:45, it's not just to wake up at 4:45. It's not because that's where success happens in those wee hours of the morning. It's because that's when it's quiet. I have less distractions. And it's scientifically proven that that's when you are going to be most efficient with your time. You can get the most done. And so I have a list that I make every day, and it's things that I have to get done, non-negotiable. When my list is done, technically I have the freedom to do whatever I want because I have all of my things done. And I don't have those anxieties creeping in on me of like, oh, I should have done this, I should have done that. So
what do you do in the morning? Like, what is your routine in the morning?
the first thing I do is I wake up, I grab my coffee, and I get my 10 pages of reading in. And that's usually like something about entrepreneurship, history, something that can teach me something.
Okay. So just 10 pages?
10 pages is my minimum.
Okay, got it. So if like you're
It's
into
my
something,
minimum.
got it.
Yeah, so if like I'm on a time crunch, that's the minimum I have to read. And even then, that I usually do like a chapter a day, so sometimes those chapters can be a little bit longer.
What are you reading right now?
Right now, I started a autobiography on Lincoln, Abe Lincoln.
Abe Lincoln, the man.
Yeah,
the myth,
it's actually,
the legend.
It's actually all about his depression and how he used that to fuel his success. It's pretty interesting.
It's a topic for another time, but
Yes.
it's incredible the things that like the most revered people in history, the things you don't know about them.
Yes.
There's no secrets here, right? We're talking about hard things.
Yep.
We're talking about life changing stuff, habits, basically breaking habits.
Well, and yeah, I'll tell you, when I first started doing 4:45, 5 a.m., shit, even 6 a.m., that was hard. It was very hard. Everyone, especially nowadays when it's like 35 degrees in the morning, no one wants to get out of bed when it's cold like that.
Nice and cozy.
Yeah, but now you just have to train yourself that it's not an option. It's not whether you're motivated or not. It's, this is what I know I have to do. And you just get out. You don't even question it.
Yeah. I will put it in perspective here. Kids brings a whole different fucking game. Whole different, and especially when my kids are sick, like my youngest is, I don't remember when she wasn't sick, right? Like it's like, you know, she had ear infections and she had this and that. And it's like, right now she has, you know, a bad cough and, you know, it's just like she's going to daycare. That's what, from 2 earlier, like you're just literally in the trenches.
Yeah.
And my oldest is just over 4. So it's like, it's, you know, for the last 6 years, 5 to 6 years, right? It's been quite a journey of like reworking this in a completely different environment. And when your kid is keeping you up, and you try to go, we try to go to sleep 8:30, 9 o'clock every night. But when the kid is like coughing, you're like consistently worried. So you're consistently not getting good sleep.
Yeah.
And then she screams bloody murder at 2 o'clock in the morning just because, and then she goes right back to bed. It's like, well, that's nice. Little lullaby for me to like, just like literally wake up with my blood curled. And it's like, I will tell you, it's been extremely difficult for the morning. It's like, I'm back to fighting getting up and get back to fighting like a reason to not sleep in, because it's like I can't function right now because it's like I'm getting, you know, when you go to sleep and you sleep from like a real good sleep from 8:30 9 o'clock to like 4:45 to 5,
Yeah,
sure, like you're rested, you're great. But when you go to sleep at 8:30 9 o'clock and you are woken up and you're like not really like reaching that real deep level of like true rest sleep, it fucks you up.
Yeah,
it really does.
And obviously I don't have kids yet, so I don't know that feeling.
Enjoy it.
But I know.
Enjoy it. Wait, sorry, I just got blacked out for a second.
But I know, speaking with you and knowing you, that your why brings you out of bed. And I think that's what a lot of people lack. They don't have that why. They don't have the reason to get out of bed. For you, it's your wife and your kids. They're a huge motivation factor for you on why you have to continue to do what you do. And you know, we've talked before on how one of your biggest things is that you want to be able to live that life as a dad that can go to the softball games and can help coach and stuff. And I think that's a big motivation for you to get out of bed, because you know that that's going to be right around the corner and you want to give that. So you're okay with sacrificing a little bit of being uncomfortable for these first few years of their lives in order to be in it 100% when they're at that sports life. So
like you brought up a great point, right? Like it's the why that really drives us, right? And people always are constantly chasing, right? And they're constantly chasing for what they want out of life and what they really desire. And if you don't have a strong why, you're like you're nothing is gonna happen for you on this end of things.
Yep.
So what is your why? Let me start there.
I think I have a couple whys. Mainly I want to give back my parents everything that they sacrificed for me.
Okay.
They've been my saving grace my entire life. They've done everything they could. So.
Yeah, I mean, we would literally be dead without parents.
Yeah. They dropped everything, and I was in sports. I was in travel softball. They dropped everything. They went on at every tournament with me. My dad actually coached me.
Your dad is my hero. I gotta talk to him. I have no idea how softball is and what to do.
Good thing I played for 20 years.
Oh, really?
So I can help you with that.
What position? I don't know position.
So I pitched and then center field.
So you must be like, your arm must be...
It used to be, and then I broke it.
You broke it?
I tore my labrum in my rotator cuff.
Okay. In a game?
In a game, yeah. We were... It's funny, we were actually in Myrtle Beach for our spring training, and I was playing center field. I can't remember the exact details, but I know it was like 3-2. Like they had a girl on second, a girl on third, and I had caught the ball, and the girl on third was tagging, and so I should have caught it, and like threw it home right away, and I just remember like feeling that pop.
Oh shoot.
My like shoulder fell and I couldn't throw it. Yeah.
Was it just like a bad like move or something?
I mean, I like went to like cock back and then you just kind of felt it drop. Yeah. And so I ignored it for a while till I finally went in because I couldn't really throw anymore. And yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so I mean, I'm sure I could still throw. It'd probably take me a little bit to grease it back up. But yes, and I'm left-handed, so that's why I was in that position because it's really where outfielders go. I couldn't really play too much in the infield, so. But yeah, so my dad was my coach growing up, and so he was there with me every step of the way. He called off work so much. He left work early. Like, my mom came to just about every single one of my games. Like, they sacrificed a lot for me.
Super cool.
Yeah. And then another big why is my little brother. You know, He's 10 years younger than me. I sometimes treat him like he's my own child.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's my favorite little guy. And I just want to make sure that he can live a comfortable life.
Okay.
His whole life and never have to worry about anything. So
This is the little brother that like messed up your entire apartment that one time, right?
yeah.
Okay.
He did. Yeah, you know, he did the male's definition of cleaning and it was disgusting.
One of my favorite stories that you told me. Yeah, like you let him stay in your place for a little bit, you come back and it's like,
But yeah,
what tornado came through here?
Yeah, I told him, I was like, Dustin, you better clean. He goes, I cleaned. And he tidied it up. The pillows were where they're supposed to be.
Okay.
Blankets were folded up, but I still to this day am trying to figure out what he cooked. And we have an electric stove. Something boiled over at all of our
Was it his first time cooking?
No, it wasn't.
Just wanted to fuck your apartment up?
I think he had a friend staying with him too, and I think they were maybe like walked away, played video games, forgot they were cooking something, boiled over, and it probably took us a week and a half to scrub it off of our stove.
Wow.
Yeah.
Gotta love a little brother.
Little brothers.
Yeah, give him everything he needs. He deserves it.
Yes. But,
no, that's beautiful.
But yes, I mean, a lot of mine revolves around my family. And that's a big reason why I am in such a routine and why I make sure that work-life balance is something that I take care of because my family is always number one to me.
Right.
And I know this might sound crazy to some people, but my job comes second to a sense. I will always make sure I get everything done that I need to, but I will never let it interfere with my family life.
My journey of my why, right, is I always put like everything is in my work. I got to make money, more money, and that's, you know, success. And I need all the money, and I need all then the success, and then the happiness will come from that, right? And it turned into this like bottomless pit of like, I want more, I need more, because it's if you put your why related to income, it's never going to be enough. It's like this forever hungry beast.
Well, right. You put a number like, oh, I want to reach $1 million, and you reach that $1 million, and then what?
So, and what I found is that it's okay to want to be successful, but it's not okay to think immediately that that's linked to your happiness. Your why is your happiness. It just is.
Yeah.
Right? So when I realized that and I started to ask myself, why am I not happy as I make more money? It's because my happiness doesn't come from my money. And when I started to turn that around, and it took me a long time to be like, what makes me happy? What makes me happy? What makes me happy? And I ultimately came upon being with my family and spending more time with my family. Why it took me so long to get there is because when I started that journey of what makes me happy, I didn't have kids at the time, right? I didn't have my wife at the time.
Yeah.
And it's okay to like not know what makes you happy.
Yeah.
Like I want to, like that's super important is that it's okay to not know what makes you happy.
Yeah.
But it's also important to know that it's a journey.
Yeah.
And to take time with it and give yourself the grace and the patience to find it.
Yeah.
Be successful. Want that drive. Get after it, right? Money solves a lot of problems, but money cannot buy happiness.
Yes.
Right? Like it's
Yeah, I actually like that because in a sense, like money can buy your happiness where it gets rid of your worries, but I like the way that you word it.
Money can buy comfort. It can't buy happiness. It just can't.
Yeah.
That's why like all of those like movies when there is like a genie or whatever and a guy's like, I wish that she loved me. And every single time he's like, motherfucker, that's not how it works, man.
No.
Right? Like we can't just be like that and somebody's gonna love you. Like that's the what they're really saying, like what I see that as is like, you can't buy happiness, right? And that journey is on you, my man,
Yep.
right? Like you got to find that out, because if you try to buy happiness, right, you're going to find very quickly that it's a intangible, invaluable, like non monetary thing.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's what a lot of people also do, is they're on the pursuit to find happiness with a dead end road. Like they don't know what they're searching for. So like, how can you be searching for it? Where it's like you almost have to like write down like what you envision your future to be, and like how you envision like waking up and saying, I made it. This is what I've been looking for.
Yeah.
And working every day to get that life.
Visualizing it,
Yeah.
right? Like it's
Visualization is key.
unless you're a person that just hates laughing. There's times in your life that you laugh.
Yes.
What are those times? I can guarantee you it's not probably while you're working.
No.
Right? It's not while...
Well, unless you work with Vesta, because we have a lot of fun.
Sure, no, for sure, right? That's an odd way to say it. Like you have fun, like you have
Yeah.
great colleagues and whatever, but
Where are you most content with your life?
yeah, you're like, this is nice. I feel nice. This
Yeah.
feels good. This feels right. And again, like...
And I think a lot of people confuse going out and partying as a time of happiness in their life, where I think that's more of where they're searching for the life that they want.
There's a reason why so many famous people, uber successful rich people are absolutely just not happy. And Hulk Hogan, right? Gotta love the Hulk.
Yes.
But I specifically remember when he started his show with his family, right? That first year, you might be too young to remember that, but he had a reality TV. Do you remember the reality?
Yes, I remember that reality TV. My cousin loved Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, it's like it's hard not to love the guy, right?
Yeah.
I mean, he's this persona. He's like, this giant human that like, has brought joy to a lot of people.
Yeah.
But I specifically am referencing his reality TV show because that first year he won Dad of the Year, like some crazy like.
That was the thing.
That it was some sort of award. He won Dad
That's
of the Year,
interesting.
and I remember like I was like, wow, this guy's got it figured out. This guy is like, he has a great family. He seems really happy. He's got the riches. Wow, what a guy. And then like fame overtook the whole family, and like, I mean, talk about what happened is like it was a roller coaster ride of disaster, right? And that was like a moment in my life where I was like, holy shit, like fame is not something that is, it could be good for some people, right? Like, but you gotta be
Yeah.
ready for like,
Everyone's all up in your business all the
all
time.
up in your business, and it's not all like peaches and rosy like butterflies and things like that.
And I think that's why, like, this day and age in 2022, where social media is so big, I think that's why so many people are depressed, and that they
all
can't
fake.
they can't find their why, because they sit here and they scroll behind a screen of people that are making their lives seem so perfect when
Yeah.
really they are an absolute disaster.
Absolute disaster.
And I'm guilty of it too. I look on
Absolutely.
I look on girls on Instagram and I'm like, why can't I look like that? Why can't I be like this?
Yeah.
Or why am I not living that life the way that they are when that's what I want? But it's because they're making it seem like that's the life they're living. It's not the life they're actually living.
Curated, experiential showcasing
Yeah.
of their life, right? It's not real.
It's fake happiness.
And I actually specifically know a specific example of that is times of pregnancy for women. And my wife, she had a really hard time with it because the way you see social media and the way that pregnant women and things like that are shown is like they're glowing and they're flowing and they're so happy, and it's like I am just in the best mood of my life. And I was like, is there something wrong with me? Like this isn't this like is not a great experience, right? Like my body has a parasite inside of it that's like literally absorbing all of my nutrients, and I feel like shit.
Yeah.
But like I was first person experiencing this where like she's just like, is there something wrong with me? Because in social media is telling me that I need to enjoy this. I need to be so appreciative. And being pregnant, things like that, absolutely. Not everybody can get pregnant, and we have to be thankful and appreciative for that stuff.
Yeah.
But also be real. Like you're gonna be throwing up a lot. Like your back is gonna hurt, right? Your not like gonna love the way that you look, right? Like
Yes.
it's gonna happen, right?
Yeah, you almost have to look at that like how reality TV is, and the fact that we all know reality TV is fake, and that's exactly how social media is.
Yeah, and it's getting worse too.
Yeah, it's getting so bad, and it's almost crazy too because of how much you can alter the way that you look. So like people literally make themselves look in their eyes way better than what they actually look like in real life, and that's a huge thing too.
I think that a big thing that's going to come out of this, and it's during the pandemic, is like, unfortunately, depression is like I'm going to heightened, and it's going to be very closely linked to what was happening right now on social media, and I am terrified for my girls.
There's
Terrified.
actually a study out there. I can't remember where I read it, but it was all about like people my age, millennials, and the time frame that we grew up, and how often like you found depression in young kids when we were growing up compared
That's
to
crazy.
13 to 21-year-olds these days with how they grew up and with having a phone at every second of every day. And they said it went up like 70%. It was like
the
insane.
online bullying, right? Like all, because like these kids, they don't know the implications of their actions, right? Like you don't know like how hating on some kid is gonna like actually affect them, and like
Well, that's another thing. People have come such cowards, and they hide behind a screen to say the things that they could never say in person.
yeah, I mean, our politicians aren't really helping the whole conversation here. It's kind of like, bullying is like the new way of conversing.
Yeah.
But that's for another time of
Yes.
day. But my wife and I were very adamant our girls are not on social, right? First off, like I am in the kind of camp where I'm like, personal identity online is your identity is yours until you put it on social. And it's not right for me to put, and I feel like my daughter on there where like she doesn't really know what that means yet. So I'm like, until you can make that decision, I don't want you online. If you feel like you want to be online yourself, you're going to make that decision for yourself.
Yeah.
But I want you to truly understand the repercussions. Now, kids her age are already having cell phones and iPads and all this stuff. And we want her to like have like watch the shows and things like that, but we're very, very like slow on the intake of her information like that.
Have you ever watched The Social Dilemma?
Yeah, of course, it's crazy.
It scared the shit out of me.
Yeah, for sure, and it terrifies me even more because I know eventually she's going to be like, all of my friends have this. Why can I not have it?
Yeah.
And it's like, and kids find a way if you keep obstructing, right? So it's like, how do you teach a young mind all these things? And it's like,
I don't even think that you like. I would say teach loosely. I think you kind of live the life that you want them to live because kids watch you. They watch your every move.
And it's
They
and
become
my
who
wife
you
and I
are.
were on our phones, like we're like literally like it's like as much as we try not to be zombies, like it's an addiction. It's like because I'm already naturally addicted to my phone because of my job, and all of that, kind of circling back to what we're discussing here, right? Like I have to remember that how I want to live my life, what I want to showcase, who I want to be.
Yeah.
It comes back to like the why, right? And this is a perfect example where it's like, I do come back to like I'm like, listen, like the whole reason that I do everything I do is to be spent on my family. So I'm like, why is my phone out when my kid's right here, right? Go play.
Yeah.
And that's an example of how like you can consistently bring it back. And it's a very hard thing to do.
It is.
Right? Because it's like, again, it's teaching habits, and like the phone example is like it's there, it's got like, the doom scroll is a real thing.
Yeah, that's why I set a timer on my phone, and I get kicked out of apps once
Yes,
I hit
that's smart.
Once
That's
I
smart.
hit a certain time, because, like you said, we all get stuck in it. It happens to everyone.
Yeah.
You get caught in something, and it's not even something that you're really interested in. It's just
Yeah.
on your phone at the time, so that's what you're gonna do.
So, kind of to summarize what we're talking about here and to finalize, so you have morning routine, super important.
Yes.
Right? Do you do like goal setting for the year, 2, 3, 4, 5-year plan or anything like that?
Yes, I do. My everyday morning routine is very important to me. And then one of my friends, he's really big on like make a list and then do that list, kind of what I was talking about earlier. So that's something that I prioritize. I always have my list. And while it looks the same most days, there are some days where I add stuff or I take stuff away depending on what I need to do. And I just make sure I get that list done every day so that way the anxieties go away. And then, I do have long-term goals, short-term goals. I have a vision board set up to remind me every day of why I'm doing what I'm doing. I've got pictures of my family at my desk at home to make sure like I'm reminded like this is why you're working at 8 o'clock on your laptop. Yeah. But yeah, I think writing, not thinking of the goals, but writing them down and having them somewhere where you can look at them at any time is very important.
So if somebody's like listening to this thing and be like, I don't even know where to begin, right? What would you say if they want to like, they're partying, they, can't find a way to like, they want to find a way, but they can't seem to find a way to stop themselves. What would you say is a good 1, 2, 3 step in the immediate that somebody can do to start altering their course to get to where they want to get to?
I would say the first thing is to write down on a piece of paper, what do I want my life to look like in 5 years? Is it going out until 2 a.m. partying, getting drunk? Or is it being happy, settled with a family and kids? Or starting a business or whatever it may be. Everyone is different. Not everyone wants to have a big family like that. But figure out where you want to be in 5 years and write it down. The next step I would say is to then write down what you have to do in order to make that happen. Do you have to start waking up early to take care of yourself? Do you have to start working out more? Do you have to start eating better? Do you have to start, and like if you're single and you want a relationship, you have to become the person that you want. So you have to figure out what kind of person you want and then write down the steps on how do I become that person. So I think that would be my second thing is what can I do today to become that person in 5 years? And then the third thing, I would write down my whys. Yeah. Why am I doing this? What's the long-term goal? When I die in 70 years or whenever it may be, am I going to look back and say, I wish I would have done this? Or I'm saying, I'm glad I did this.
And I think to finalize this conversation is that you guys, you have to give yourself the time and the patience to get to where you want to get to.
Doesn't happen overnight.
And maybe you're not going to wake up at 4:45 in the morning tomorrow. You're probably not going to. You're probably a maniac if you're going to do that, right? But like, try to wake up 15 minutes earlier than normal. And if it's working out, I will say one of the best things you can do in the morning is working out because it really starts your day off. So like, and I get that working out is really hard. It just is, regardless of when you do it. But like, set up small goals. I'll do 5 push-ups tomorrow and I'll wake up 10 minutes earlier. Great. Just do that for a week. Do it for 2 weeks. Do it until like, you're like, okay, cool. Like now I can add an additional 10 minutes, then an additional 10 minutes. And if it takes you a year to get there, as long as you're putting the little things into action every single day. Just do it every single day. I think Tony Robbins is the one that said it best. Everyone overestimates what they can do in a short period of time. Everyone underestimates what they can do in a long period of time. Remember that. Stay motivated. Just remember to give yourself the patience, the grace, the love to be able to become who you want to become. And
you're going to fail.
You're going to fail, and that's okay.
You're going to fail.
And yeah.
And don't let it deter you from continuing to do what you want to do.
And surround yourself with people that believe in you.
Yep.
Not the other way around.
Yep.
And with that being said, Rayanne, Redneck Rayanne, Girl Dad Greg, we are out. Thank you for joining us for House of Vesta. This was fun.
It was fun.
Welcome to the House of Vesta. If you love a good time and a good real estate story, come through and be part of the conversation.